Hey everyone, I'm Ultima456, you're the Ultimates, and welcome to episode 80 of Let's Platinum Nioh. Alright, so we are up to the Demon King revealed, however, there is a trophy to complete all the missions in the game, and we have done so, except in terms of the Twilight missions, which are counted. You can see that at the top right we have 88.8%, so there is one more Twilight mission to go, and that Twilight mission is... oops. The Bleeding Spider Lily, a mission level of 90, so it's going to be pretty simple to do. Before we do that though, or should I do it? Now let's do it first and then I'll do what I was going to do. I'm actually recording this on a Wednesday night. Typically I try not to record during the weekday just because I'm so destroyed from work. Work is just so stressful now. I'm back at work and we're doing everything we can to catch up. It's been a hectic 2 weeks off. Yeah, it's been really tough, but we're slowly getting there. So yeah, I just gotta kind of keep pushing through. It's really tough. Alright, so this episode we're probably not going to get to start the Demon King revealed, but that's okay. We're just going to go through this. Actually, before we do, I think he saw me. I want to make sure that I'm going for the last few, so Spear and Odachi. Let's use the Spear. I don't typically use the Spear, but we can use the Spear. Now, I know if I know if I sneak up on this guy, I can probably take him out. There we go. So I don't typically use a Spear, but pretty much all the weapons in this game are good, so yeah. You know what, we're going to go through this mission. We've seen it before. I'm not going to absolutely rush through it like I usually do. I'm going to take my time a bit, because I want to talk about something. I'll probably call this episode Real Talk. I want to try and, yeah, just talk about some semi-serious stuff for once. Well, for once. I actually like talking about it, and I think a lot of people would like it as well. But I'll go ahead and talk about it a little bit. So as of late, I've been getting quite a few sort of negative comments and downvotes on videos and stuff like that. And I was kind of surprised that it happened, especially in the way that it did. It kind of all came at once, and I wasn't really sure what was going on, like whether I did something wrong or, you know, all came out of nowhere. Knowing how the internet works, or at least having a fair idea of how the internet works, I presume that it was sort of trolls or sort of people that were mass disliking, you know, for the lols, as they say. And I know some people out there will say, look, why are you even talking about them? Like, if they did that, you know, fine, don't worry about it, just ignore it and move on. But sometimes the best way to tackle a problem is not to ignore it. Sometimes the best way to tackle a problem is to deal with it head on. Oh, here we go. And so I thought I'd talk about it a little bit, because from what I can tell, the people who disliked my videos didn't dislike it because the content was bad. They disliked it because they weren't getting what they wanted, which was Resident Evil 2. Now, as of recording this, hang on a sec. It's amazing how I can play and talk about serious stuff at the same time sometimes. And sometimes I can't. Yeah, get him. Ugh. Oh, that's right, I should have... yeah, that's okay. We'll learn some more stuff as we go through this episode. Oh yeah, he's staggered, so I should go for him. There we go. So, yeah, they, for whatever reason, these people were saying that the reason that I was getting disliked was because I still got that really fast movement speed or something. Let me just see that. Doesn't look like it. Weird. Anyway, these people were saying that maybe the reason I was getting mass dislikes was because I needed to do something new, and, like, you know, doing the same thing over and over again was getting boring. Now, I realize Nioh is a very long game, trust me, I realize that. When I first decided to do it, I was like, am I crazy? Yes, I probably am. But I I knew that Nioh was going to be a long game. To be honest, I can't believe that where we are at episode 80 is actually quite incredible. Like, I didn't expect to get this as far as I did in this time, especially considering... What am I doing? Why am I fighting these guys? Let me just get out of here. Especially considering that the game is as long as it is, and that I sort of looked at the lore a lot of the game. You know, I examined the lore quite a bit. I tried to read most, if not all, of the directories and all that kind of stuff. I got through, I think, all of the yokai stuff. There's only a few left, but I probably neglected some of the character directory, which, you know, some of it is really interesting. I definitely want to read all of William's. I think William is I don't know, it's hard. He's a stoic character, right? He kind of doesn't really say too much, only says what he needs to say, and doesn't seem to be affected by too much. Especially when you wear this mask that I'm wearing. Ow, that hurty. Anyway, so yeah, but he is interesting, at least to me. I don't know, maybe people don't find him interesting. I don't know sort of what the mass general consensus is of William's character, but for me, I find him interesting. So I would like to, you know, continue reading that at some point. And if not, you know, I'm sure it's somewhere up on YouTube if you want to read it. I do have to finish the game at some point. Anyway, these people were complaining that they weren't getting their way, and I thought, well, that's extremely childish to then follow it up by saying, maybe we're disliking your content because you're not displaying the content that we want to see. And I think that's extremely childish. I think it's very petty, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. And if this video gets downvoted for that, then, you know, so be it. I still believe what I say, and I believe that I'm right in that capacity. On the other hand, I will also say that my videos have not always been perfect. In fact, a lot of them for quite a while have, well, I shouldn't say it like that, a lot of them for quite a while. I should say that there have been mistakes in videos, especially this game. There were a few things that I didn't really realize until quite recently. Toughness is one of them. I didn't really understand toughness, but I understand it now. We'll talk about that hopefully a little bit later in this episode if I manage to have enough time. But let's just say that where it says 96 toughness over here, that's not good, and that color yellow is a reference to something. And like I said, I've said it a lot of times. I've pumped over 200 hours into this game, but one thing I didn't realize was, when I think about those hours, I may have actually pumped 200 hours like sort of around about now, rather than when I said I was. I really thought that I had 200 hours by the time I started the playthrough, and that may have not been the case. That wasn't a lie, it was a sort of a misunderstanding of how much time I had actually used, especially considering that when I played the game for the first time, I feel like a lot of gamers do this, especially with difficult games. You play a game for a certain amount of time, and if you get stuck, you kind of drop it for a little bit, and then you come back to it at a later date, right? But if you come back to it like 1, 2, 3 years later or whatever, you're not going to continue from the save file that you had at that point. You're going to make a new save file, and you might learn something else. Like, you might not remember almost anything about what you did, but then you start playing it and you're like, oh yeah, it's all coming back to me now. And then you start, you know, you're older at that point, so you start realizing things you didn't realize before. And like I said, that has happened to me many times, even on the occasion when this game came out, you know. I played it, I sort of learnt as much as I could about it, and then I played it almost 2 years later, so of course not everything is going to be perfect. Of course I'm not going to remember everything, and that is definitely on me. That is definitely something that I should have taken more care with, something that I should have really thought about before I actually started making the guide. But I think one very important note to make is that my reaction and my sort of decision to start the guide when I did was a product of our society and how we live in a world of instant gratification, where we get anything and everything that we want, we can get it immediately. You want to watch a movie? Get Netflix. You want to get a pizza, get Uber Eats, or like, you know, call up your individual nearby local pizza shops. You want to have your that cuisine that you like from that shop nearby, you call Uber Eats. Anything and everything that we get nowadays can be done instantly, and it is making the whole world, like, I feel even more what do you call, how can I say it, even more impatient than it already was. You know, we expect things to be done immediately because of technology, and when they're not, we get frustrated and we don't understand why. And that it also leads on from the communication that we have with people. All communication is not done in person anymore. We don't we text, we email instead of talking on the phone. You know, people nowadays, like, I admit it, like, I'm guilty of it myself. I hate talking on the phone. I really detest it. But sometimes when you do, if you navigate your way through that call properly, you can really, like, connect with another human. I don't really want to speak about too much about what I do, but I'll say that I deal with sort of how can I put this? So people order from the place that I work for, and my job is to fulfill those orders, let's say. And there's a whole bunch more to it than that, but that's the bulk of my job. I was talking to someone who was very upset because she didn't get her order you know, early enough, and I probably should have thought about this first. I should be fine. Sloth, weakness, water amulet, carnage, dual swords, go. Done. Beautiful. Yeah, I probably should have thought of oh, my beloved child, I won't let, she says the same thing. Remember her kind of story was to do with Iyasu's son. I can't remember now his name, but yeah, it's Iyasu's son. Yeah, so I had this woman, she was very upset because she didn't get her items soon enough. I guess I'll also mention that the items that I deal with are medical equipment to help people sleep. And she didn't get it, you know, when she needed it, and she was very upset. She was very hurt. The word she used was grumpy. And I told her, I said, look, I'm doing everything I possibly can. I came in, I've been having 15-minute breaks instead of an hour break. I came in 30 minutes early on a Friday to try and get ahead. I did everything I possibly could to try and, you know, deal with everything. And she said, you know, I massively appreciate that. And the conversation completely changed from one of anger and upset, like, and grumpiness, to thank you for doing everything that you can do. And I guess just to end off so we can get back to the game, because I expected that to end right at the end of the mission, that connection that I had with another human being was over the phone, which is a technology, but it's a technology that is now what we would consider primitive, and we can almost relate it to talking to them face to face. Email, you don't hear the other person's voice. Text, you don't hear the other person's voice unless you know them, and in a way, even then you can only picture how they're reacting. So one thing that I want to say is that moving forward, I will do my best to get everything out on time, to get content out on time, but I will try and make sure that my content is as close to perfect as it can possibly be. And it's not that I wasn't doing that before, it's that I was not getting it done properly, I think. And I will endeavor to do the best I can. And please know that obviously I do have a full-time job, and this is also a full-time job basically. So I am doing my very best. And I think I'll leave it at that. Okay, we have 10 minutes left. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the game. Let's have a look at what titles I got. I think I got the axe. No, sorry, not axe, spear. I got the spearman title. Nice. We'll be getting more of those soon. Another thing I really want to do, I know it seems like it'll take a long time, but I'm going to try and edit it correctly. All these traveler missions, I was actually practicing them on my other file. Like you can see here, Isle of Demons took me 2 minutes and 12 seconds. That was kind of a mini speed run that I attempted. Didn't really get there in time. Deep in the Shadows, that was my regular attempt. Took almost an hour to do that mission. I can do all these and they're quite fun to do, and I want to show you all of them. So I will at some point put that into the guide. I don't know when, but the reason it's so useful is because they each provide 20 reputation points, which I think at my level pretty much constantly gives me, yeah, it will always give me 1 point. And these points are actually going to be quite valuable, especially luck. I feel like luck is going to be a stat that I'm going to be investing in a lot more as we go. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about blacksmithing. Now I know blacksmithing is not everyone's favorite cup of tea, but I think the reason that it's so despised sometimes is because of lack of understanding. Oh, let me just have a look here. Lack of understanding leading us away from unity. Anytime you say a line in a song, you can remember where it's from. Anyway, Biwa Boku Boku. The second half of the name is said to refer to Bokuba, a famous biwa lute in ancient Japan. Tunes played on bokuba had the power to summon and bewitch spirits and yokai, like the vengeful Heiki warriors who attacked Hoichi, and even to call revenants forth from their bloody graves. Okay, so it really tells you there that they are the ones that called the revenants out of the bloody graves. Oh, looks like some guardian spirit as well. Atlas bear, and I may have missed another one. I think it was only Atlas bear. The embodiment of nature's ferocity. It originates from the far southwest, where legend says that if you paint a baby's face with the Atlas bear's pattern on the first day, it hears thunder. The Atlas bear will protect the child for the rest of its life. Those who the Atlas bear protects grow up to be strong and hardy, and are said to be able to survive danger that would rob most of their lives. Okay, cool. So let's have a look at this blacksmithing thing. Don't open me in a new tab. Let's have a look. So these are the pieces of gear that I have right now, right? And I want to do the Demon King revealed. So it's level 135. I'm only level 111, and my gear is sort of a little bit lower than that. But I want to make sure that I have the right gear. So I went in and had a look at the different pieces of gear that I had, and I marked the ones that I thought would be really good with a lock. I only marked the Kodama bowl with lock to not sell it because I'm not 100% sure if we can. I'm sure we can get like a more powerful one, and we may not even need it, but I just did that to be safe. So out of all of them, the Bellflower Kabuto was actually the best one, and the reason it is, and this is where things confuse me. So let's go over this again. The weight, not really too important right now, but the weight basically affects your movement abilities, your agility bonus. Right now we're on A, this would put us to B. And at the beginning of the game, I noticed that B was actually a really good one to have because you kind of got the best of both worlds. You got more protection and your movement wasn't that sort of negatively affected. So the weight's not too important. Defense multiplier, so it has 149 defense, and then I think the reason, sorry, my one has 149 defense. This one will push me to 168. Why is that? Because it has a certain amount of defense. It gets more defense from this one here, and maybe even the damage reduction might affect that. I'm not 100% sure. But the reason it's good is because it just provides a much better protection. And the most important thing here that I didn't realize was toughness. And this is a little bit my fault, a little bit the game's fault. So you notice here, toughness, it has plus 29 and then 116 in brackets. What that means is that it is giving you 29 toughness, and it is pushing your total toughness to 116 compared to what my previous mask is giving me from, it was giving me 9, which pushes me to 96. Now, why are they in different colors? Well, if you look at the equipment weight is in blue. Then it can be put to green if I wear this Bellflower Kabuto, and if I wear even heavier equipment, I can push it all the way to yellow, which is really bad because it's good in terms of defense, but then you can't move, right? So toughness is got the same thing, but it's reverse, because the less toughness you have, the less you're going to resist attacks. So it says resistance to guard breaks and key damage, but it's not just guard breaks and key damage. I think that's a really bad explanation. Toughness allows you to actually take a hit and not stagger on your hit. So you know how when you fight a yokai and you knock out all its ki and stamina, and then when it's completely drained, every hit will stagger the yokai. So as long as you're attacking fast enough, you'll be able to keep them at bay. That's what toughness does for William. So I'm going to wear this, and my toughness is going to move into the next zone, as it were, the green zone. So you'll notice, and I'll try and point it out when I notice it, you'll notice William will be able to not stagger from certain hits from enemies when I get hit. So that's why I'm going to put this one on. the next one, I had 2. I looked at Genji armor, which increased my defense immensely, but was also very heavy. At the moment, the weight doesn't matter because I'm still not in the yellow zone and I can work things out. So this is good because it has changed to defense spirit C-. So all of my spirit points have a C- ranking, and that gets pushed into defense. So if we go to my status, I have 20 spirit, so C- is some kind of percentage from 20, and it adds that to my defense. I don't know if it means like it gets, like, let's say C- is what, like 60%, so, or wait, what is it? Yeah, it's like 55-60%, right? So let's say it's 50. So what, 10 spirit directly gets invested as defense. I'm not sure if that's exactly how it works, but I think it's something like that. There may be some kind of other multipliers that are infused into the game's code, but effectively that's what it is. The other one that I had was the Karakawa armor, which is basically, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wear this, and I'm going to look at the Karakawa armor and the difference. So we actually get more defense from the Karakawa armor than compared to the Genji armor. The weight, the Karakawa armor is heavier, and we get life instead of ki. It's a tricky one, but it's changed to defense magic, which is its like fixed ability, is much better. So probably the best idea is actually to wear the Karakawa armor instead, and maybe even soul match the Genji, to the Genji armor. Which, let's just see quickly how much that is. I know we're running out of time, but let's have a quick peek. Soul match. If it's not too much, I'll do it. Can I please? Thank you. Not that one. I want the Karakawa armor, and that one. How much is that? Oh, beautiful. May as well do that. Why not get the best of both worlds? That's nothing. 63,000. I'll pay that any day. Not in real life though. Oh yeah, let's hand over the final Kagatsuchi's Magatama. Also some smithing texts for Shingiku Medicine and Saisetsu Shinsaki. Awesome. Not enough to get another point. That's fine. So that's good. Now you might also be wondering, oh, isn't that taking away from Yagu's Shinkage style? Yes, but I've realized that it's not super important right now to have the set effects. Those we can worry about later. All right, for this, the only one that I was, or was there two? Hang on a sec. Justice Ministry and yeah, Genius Strategists. So Justice Ministry is good because it's light, so it balances out the weight difference, or differential, you could say. And Genius Strategists is good as well because it has well, it's actually a bit heavier. So what I'm going to do is, I think the Justice Ministry, I think I have a few more pieces of this set, so I might be able to sneak that in. So let's put that on instead, because I still, even though compared to the one that I had, which I've actually forgotten now or immediately what it was, I think it was this, even though the one I had that changed to Defense Spirit, it was so low that the Justice Ministry was better overall. So I put that balances out my weight a little bit. For the legs, I actually balanced out the weight a little bit more as well, so I kept it light. Yamabushi Apparel versus the Justice Ministry set. So we'll put the Justice Ministry set since that gives me that set bonus. Again, like I just said, it's not too important, but you know, if you can get it, you may as well get it. So let's put the Justice Ministry and compare it to the other one, Yamabushi. So Yamabushi gives me more defense. Both of them give me toughness. Yeah, it's a tricky choice, but I think I'll go with the Justice Ministry set. You also get some human item drop rate, which can become useful later. Dash endurance. Yeah. I don't know. That one I reckon you could go either. And I probably should soul match that as well. And then the final one, what did I end up choosing? Yeah, the final Justice Ministry, because I think that 2-piece set, oh, I don't have enough for 4 pieces. I just realized that sucks. Okay, then in that case, why don't I do this? We'll put this one over the other one. Don't really want to get rid of that key, so maybe I'll try and like reforge that yokai equipment drop rate to key, and we'll change this one to the Yamabushi Apparel. And that'll keep me... Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's another thing. Hang on. No, okay. So you know why I'm not putting this on? Because look at the toughness. My toughness gets pushed to 201, which is just enough to put me into the next bracket of toughness. And you can see that light blue color is the same as the equipment weight when it was at A rank. So that light blue color is very important. Now I'm wondering if there's a color beyond that, because I've never got 300 toughness before. There was one item that pushed me to 250. I could do some checking, but I'm not going to bother. So everything has toughness except for that. Again, I don't need to reforge any more toughness because I would need 99 to make another bit of difference, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what it is. What I will do is try and reforge some ki onto the shoes. I'm only going to use like a handful of points here. Oh, gotta unlock it. Always unlock. Defense. You know what? I think I'll try a few more times. Oh, there you go. Okay, key. Not bad, not bad. So it's not much, but that little bit of change, like to my gear, now makes like life so much easier. I reckon like the final missions should be really good. I should be able to complete them without too much difficulty. And I'm a lot stronger than I was before. Again, I'm going to end the episode now. The weapons, I will probably just get rid of. Like I've locked some weapons, like this one here. Like I've basically picked out the best ones that I know from each sort of class of weapon, and just lock them all. So I might just go ahead and like sell everything or dismantle everything at the beginning of next episode before we head on to the thing, because obviously I don't want to hold us up any longer. I think I've said what needs to be said, and I think I've done what needs to be done. I'm going to end the episode now on a positive note. I apologize if I've made any, glaring errors, and I know I have. I am only human, as much as I sometimes like to think that I'm not. I am only human. I try my best. The only thing I've ever wanted to do is make people happy and make them smile. And if you get some kind of enjoyment, whether it's information or a laugh out of this, then that's all that I ever really want to do, because that's all I ever really wanted to be. So having said that, let's get this mission done next time. Let's finish this game off in style, and let's get to some of those sick endgame missions, because you will not want to miss those endgame missions. They are going to be fun. My name's Ultima456. Thank you for watching episode 80 of Let's Platinum Nioh. You're the Ultimates. I'll see you next time.